they're going to tell you, I need you to watch these videos. I need you to show up for some calls, and you're going to schedule yourself. So guess what? This is an interview process. They're going to see if you can even follow directions. They're testing you right now, and you don't even know it.
Absolutely.
And you should see these candidates. They're like, really? I'm like, yes. They want to know, are you going to do what they ask you to do? Because if you don't, they're not interested.
Welcome to the Zero to Profitable Franchise Podcast, the best place for you to come to figure out the right franchise to buy and how to get and stay profitable. My name is Tarek Johnson, and I've bought, grown, and sold multiple franchises and got myself free from corporate America, and now I'm on a mission to help you do that too. Here you'll find some of the most in-depth profitable franchise secrets, tangible strategies, and specific mindsets to help you create your dream life through franchising.
You know, for someone who shouldn't buy a franchise is someone who's not going to follow the system. And it sounds like the stupidest thing. It's funny. I was golfing, and I got paired up with this random guy, and they made us ride in the same cart to make it efficient, so we're not two solos riding in separate carts. And the guys, we're talking about what I do, and he's asking me all these questions, and what are one of the mistakes people make? And I'm like, well, it's not following the system. When I interview these CEOs and founders of franchisors, every time I ask all of them the same question, like, what's the difference between the franchisees that are successful and not? And they always go, the ones that are not, they don't follow the system, and they try to reinvent the wheel. And I don't think it's that people go in with that intention, but it's like, okay, you've been successful in your life and you have ideas and opinions and the way that you want to do things. And so they come into the system and immediately start going, well, I don't like that you guys do things like that, and I don't like that you do things like that. And so, yeah, this is how we want to do it. And then all of a sudden they go, it's not working for me. I'm not seeing the results. And it's like, well, have you followed the system to the T? Well, sort of. I kind of did my own thing. Well, how about this? Try following the system first. And then if you've done that for 6, 8, 9 months, a year, and you followed it to a T and you're not seeing your results, okay, then maybe innovate a little bit, talk to the franchisor.
Great point, Tarek. And again, back to my own personal experience on that. We, as a franchise partnership group, were very attractive to Five Guys because we didn't have the experience. In today's world, lots of franchisors are saying to candidates, you don't need, if you want to run Varsity Zone HVAC business, you don't need HVAC experience to be successful. They say that because they believe they can train you. So that kind of segues into I laugh because this actually happened at my Five Guys franchise owner training. Okay, we knew nothing. My partner and I were there, nervous as get out because we'd already written the check. There was no turning back from that.
And it was cashed.
And it was cashed, yes, very quickly. But there was 4 or 5 groups. And I remember there was this one group from Jersey, a couple of guys. And they were restaurant born, coming out of their mother's wombs in the restaurant business. They've been in the business forever. And they were Jersey guys, so they were Jersey guys. They were good guys. I remember we were out with them the night before. They were fun guys. But they're doing this training. The ops guys doing the training. And we're writing down notes, like whatever they say, we're like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Yeah. We don't know nothing else. We're gonna do it this way. Every 30 seconds, one of these 2 guys would raise their hand. Yeah, well, in Jersey, our cost. This is what we're doing on cost of goods. This is how we're able to do it. We buy black market onions. And we save $1.50 per pack. Yeah. And the guy's like, we don't do that here at Five Guys. And the guy would go on and do his presentation. And then they'd raise their hand 10 minutes later and say something like, we tried this and it worked great for us. And they'd say, well, that's good, but we don't do it that way. So, the other groups that were there were like intent doing it the right way. So wouldn't you know it, when the training ended, they gave the guys back their franchise fee.
Did they?
Oh, wow.
They said, listen, we think we made a mistake. We're going to give you back your fees. We don't think you're going to be a good match because we don't really feel you're going to do the things we need to do.
Wow.
And, in Five Guys, it was fresh ingredients and there's no freezers. And that was everything to them.
Yep.
And so that's a great adjunct to your point. They gave them back the franchise fees and said thanks, but no thanks. And those guys took it and said, I think that's right. I don't think this will be a fit because we are rogue. Yeah. We know more about the restaurant business than Five Guys, which may in fact have been true, right? These guys were veterans and they really had no right being in the franchise business because they didn't want to follow a system. Yeah. And I remember asking them ourselves during a break, why did you guys do this again? Like, why? And again, the answer was because Five Guys. It's gonna explode.
Yeah,
and it did.
Yeah.
So that's a great point. Is if you're not gonna follow the system and you know that out of the gate.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of times, Tarek and Chris, we tell people about that. They're like, of course I'm going to follow the system. Then they get in and don't. And then, there's nothing we can do much. There's not much we can help them with at that point in time.
And you were a franchisor, so I'm sure you experienced that a good bit. How many times did people come in and say, no, Chris, this is how we want to do it?
Well, we would always hear, well, my territory is different. My people are different. My community is different. This is different. This is different. And I'd always say, people don't change. Right. They're not. They're all the same. They are. In reason, there's probably communities, maybe they're a little different. You can factor in a few things. But at the end of the day, yes, absolutely, it always come up. Like, why would you market into that? Why? What? Well, it just sounded like it was a great opportunity. Did anything in our operations and marketing plan ever say to do that? And you paid X, how much? It just always those back and forth kind of things. And truthfully, yes, our most successful franchise locations, they did. They dove in, doubled, when we told them to spend X, they doubled it and everything else, and they went after it. But yes, it always comes up. Like, I love that movie. I remember watching it for the first time on an airplane. It was the Founders or whatever. The Founder.
Oh,
the
Founder. The McDonald's. Yeah.
And just
Michael Keaton.
When that one scene, when he's running up in the golf course on the when they were putting, and he's throwing hot dogs. Remember, they were like selling hot dogs or whatever. It's like, we don't sell hot dogs or chicken. Was it chicken? Yeah, it was chicken or something like that. Yeah. And I just laughed because that's what happens.
Yeah.
You that's why I always tell, can you follow the system? Can you follow direction? Like, I even say it with candidates now. I'm always now saying, hey, they're going to tell you, I need you to watch these videos. I need you to show up for some calls, and you're going to schedule yourself. So guess what? This is an interview process. They're going to see if you can even follow directions. They're testing you right now, and you don't even know it.
Absolutely.
And you should see these candidates. They're like, really? I'm like, yes. They want to know, are you going to do what they ask you to do? Because if you don't, they're not interested. And I said, I know they're in the industry of franchising. I think people say, oh, they award territories. They kind of make it like a joke. But for franchisors, like you said, here's your money. We want the territory back. You're not a good fit. Because that gets rid of so many more headaches just doing it right then. And it's the same thing with right now. You don't want to follow the system. You don't want to follow what you're telling me. You've got scheduled calls and then you miss them and then you just don't show up. You have no questions or this, that. Just not a good fit.
Hey, before we go, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Please subscribe here on YouTube if you haven't already. And the biggest thank you that you could ever give me is to share this episode with someone who you think will benefit. That means that we can share this message with more people and hopefully positively inspire them like we have you. So thank you. And until next time, go build your empire.